Somebody has to set the pace. If you're running with somebody, you will run faster if somebody is running faster than you. You just will.
You need to be very, very careful with who you take advice from. Because I've had some people at the beginning of their journey give me great advice. And I've had some people that are way, 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 way ahead of us give us terrible advice.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Happy Sunday. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode, number 1062. Sometimes dead ends are just detours. I would say that is a world-class title right there. Today, for episode number 1063, why you need someone in your corner pushing you. So Alan and I only have like 10 minutes on this episode because we're recording it on Saturday and Alan has a very full day. But I was thinking back today to some of the best advice we have been given and some of the worst advice we have been given. And I'm going to focus on the positive advice today. I remember Alan and I interviewed a man by the name of Evan Carmichael. Evan Carmichael, if you don't know, is very successful on YouTube. He is the top 10 guy where he gives, like, he'll do a video on, say, Bill Gates and the top 10 things that Bill Gates has said or the top 10 lessons that Bill Gates has put into the world. I think he's got like 3 million YouTube subscribers. He's spoken on stage with Tom Bilyeu, Brendan Burchard, Tony Robbins, a very, very, very successful person in our industry, in our space. We interviewed him, and we were supposed to interview him for 20 minutes. And it ended up being such a good interview that he said, let's just keep running. And we ended up doing an hour interview with Evan Carmichael, even though it was supposed to be 20 minutes. And at the end of the interview, Evan said, you guys how many episodes are you guys doing a week? And I think we were doing 2, maybe, at the time. Yeah. And he said, you guys are way too good to not be taking this more seriously. You need to do more episodes. Like, you should be doing at least 3 episodes a week. And I remember thinking, okay, this guy believes in us a lot. He's pushing us. Cool. We ended up going up to 3 episodes a week.
Oh, yeah?
Fast forward a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and we were being coached by Evan Carmichael on his Instagram Live. During this Instagram Live, Evan said, you guys are awesome. You asked some of the best questions I've ever been asked. You guys are very, very good at what you do, but I could not remember the name of your business to save my life. And at this time, we were hyper-conscious. And we were like, what do you mean, Ev? Hyper-conscious? That's popping. Everybody knows what that means. And he's like, I forget it every time. I don't know what it means. You need to change your name. And we were like, absolutely not. Not going to happen. We are the Hyper-Conscious Podcast till we die. And he pushed us a couple times. I remember this, Alan. I sent him names. He said, just let me know what you're thinking. Send me names and I'll give you some feedback. And I was like, all right. I sent him names. Like, I DM'd him. And he's like, close, but not it. Close, but not it.
I remember that, yeah.
And eventually...
This was a brutal time.
This was a brutal time.
This was tough, yeah.
We got to the point where we said, NLU, Next Level University. And we sent that to Evan. And Evan said, no, you don't want to be associated with the university. And Alan and I went back and forth. And I remember I messaged him and said, we're planting our flag, Next Level U. That's who we're going to be, Next Level University. But the point of this episode and the point of that story, Evan Carmichael pushed us a lot to do things outside of our comfort zones, to do things that he had awareness in that we didn't necessarily have yet. And going from hyper-conscious to Next Level U is the best thing we've ever done. And that's because we allowed somebody ahead of us to push us. The other quick story I did a podcast with this awesome human named Tony. Tony's a good dude. We literally, after the interview, I said, you're the type of guy I would hang out with and have a beer with. Like, you and I could be very good friends. And he said, I feel the same, man. I did a free podcast breakthrough session with him. And I said, Tony, you got to start coaching people for free. I know you want to make money with your podcast and you want to do courses and all this other stuff. Just start coaching people for free. Just trust me, it's going to work. I know it's going to work. Go get a free client and message me when you do so we can celebrate. And he's like, all right, I'll think about it. He messaged me like 2 weeks later and said, Kev, I found somebody who might actually want to work with me for free. And I was like, awesome, man. That's great. I'm so proud of you. Let me know as things progress. He emailed me yesterday and said, hey, Kev, I have my first free client. Thanks so much for pushing me and highlighting something that I didn't know was possible for me. This is awesome. I'm very excited for this. I pushed him. I gave him a little bit of a push to say, this is from my awareness, something that you could be doing. Take it or leave it. I think you have to have somebody in your life setting the pace. That's the through line in this episode. Somebody has to set the pace. If you're running with somebody, you will run faster if somebody is running faster than you. You just will.
Fact.
You just will, because somebody else is setting the pace. So that is the point of this episode. And that's what we're trying to be. That's what Alan is as a coach. That's what I am as a coach. That's who we are as podcasters. But when you leave this podcast, when you go to your friend group, do you have coaches? Do you have mentors? Do you have people who are leading the charge for you and people who are pushing you that are helping you get to your goals? That is our thought today.
If you ever watch fighters, they always have someone in their corner.
Mm-hmm.
The person in their corner is supposed to be encouraging and inspiring and motivating, and sometimes give difficult truths, and other times push you. And that's really what we're talking about here. There's a couple other stories about, shout out to Evan Carmichael again. He had you create a new thumbnail. Mm-hmm. So I'll give the story here. So we did an event called Your World Within Live. We partnered with one of our friends, Eddie Pinero. He was a friend and client of mine for a time, still a friend of ours. And he has a YouTube channel called Your World Within. Awesome YouTube channel. Every single morning, I wake up to his very first video. It's called Ode to Excellence. So I've listened to that video every day for 7 years. And I'll never forget this. Eddie and I had a tiny little falling out for a short time, and I still listened to his video every single day. And I remember when we had made up, he reached out and apologized. I said, I'm sorry. And we reconciled. And he said, Alan, if you want to know your commitment level, you listen to my video every single day, even when you and I weren't good. You know, it's like, that's a testament to who you are. So I really appreciate that. And I never forgot that, which is cool. We've also interviewed Eddie many times on this podcast.
Yep.
So we're at an event called Your World Within Live, and Evan Carmichael was one of our speakers. So we had him fly in. He spoke. I think we had 6 speakers. Me, you, Eddie, T-Mac.
I think we had like 8.
Couple other 8 speakers. Yeah, it's a full day event. We're on the 11th floor of Margaritaville in Hollywood Beach, Florida, and it's overlooking the ocean. Beautiful venue, amazing event. Truly life-changing. Some of the team members were there. Jenna was there. Amy was there. A bunch of people were there, and it really did change it was the Mario Kart booster that we needed in many ways, and so many lessons as well. But the point that I'm making here is we went to dinner with all the speakers and some of the attendees that evening, and Evan Carmichael pulled up was it your laptop? It was your laptop. Yeah. So Evan Carmichael was sitting right next to me, and you bring your laptop over, and he pulls up our YouTube channel right there at dinner, and he is taking us through this thing, and he's like essentially just telling us all the things that we need to do better. And he was kind about it, but he was very direct. And that's kind of how I am as a coach as well. It's like I'm trying to be kind here, but this is my truth.
Hello everyone at G6. My name is Roberta. I'm glad to be connected with all of you. We had a wonderful last few months, encouraging each other, keeping each other accountable, especially Lynn. Thank you very much for being there. And it's been an amazing journey. One thing I wanted to highlight, what it was done for me, is it has helped me to reprioritize. I think I was suffering from people pleasing, and especially with this online space, everybody just coming to sell you whatever they are selling, and their group and their funnels, whatever it is. And in being nice, there's a lot of time I wasted on things that are not in alignment with what I want to do with my life. I wasted so much time, and this accepting friend requests of people who are not in alignment with what you're doing, because we live in a world where everybody asks you how many followers you have, and they think that's where the value comes from. I am done with that. I'm rejecting friend requests and group requests that are not in alignment with whatever I'm pursuing. So this has been a life changer for me, because I realized how much time I wasted not being productive, but just because I'm being nice to people, and I'm done doing that. Because I've learned to prioritize things that help me become a better person. If someday in the future, 5-10 years from now, I want to pursue those things they were selling, and I respect the hustle, I may go back to those things. But right now, whatever it is I'm doing, I am not accepting any invite, anything that is not in alignment with my purpose and my mission right now. And I realized, as I said, how much time I had wasted. I thought I needed time management classes just to keep up, but it just was not for me. And it's been surreal, actually. Even when they message me and they try to be nice, I know all of those scripted sales pitches, and they try to be nice to you and say, we will help and with this and with that. I told one guy actually on the message, I said, I'm sorry, I hear what you're saying, but no, this is not for me, but thank you very much for reaching out. Which I would have not done in the past. So this has been a game changer for me. Thank you very much for the group coaching. It's been an eye-opener, and I hope everyone's journey continues to rise.
And so he was like, okay, your thumbnails suck, your titles suck, your YouTube channel sucks. Like, obviously he said it kinder than that, but it was essentially that. And Kevin and I are just like, oh my God, right? Because we're brand new, and at least to YouTube. And so he said, okay, here's what I want you to do. Kev, I want you to create a new thumbnail, and tomorrow morning, I want to see this thing. I want you to send it to me, right? Later that night, Kevin and I are exhausted. We did a whole day event. That was one of our first events we've ever co-hosted, and we're exhausted. Kev's like, I got to go do that thumbnail. Alan, I got to go do the thumbnail. I'm like, man, he's not even gonna remember. He's not even gonna remember about that. Don't even worry about it.
I needed your help, I think, because I was
I know.
I didn't know how to use. I don't know if it was whatever we were doing. I was like, I don't know how to do
Photoshop.
it. Like, I need help, Alan. And you're like,
yeah.
You ended up going to the beach, you son of a bitch.
you SOB. So I ended up going to the beach, which was great. And honestly, there's another story behind that about one of the best moments of my life, genuinely. In the water, just overlooking where we did an event earlier, and just like flopping in the water. It's just the most gorgeous boardwalk ever. Awesome moment. So I'm grateful that I did that and didn't help you with your effing thumbnail. I'm kidding. So the next morning, Evan's doing a Q&A session down in the lobby of Margaritaville, having his coffee with a bunch of people. There's actually some really good photos on our website of this. And so shout out to Odette, who took awesome photos. My goodness, those were great. So very first thing Evan says to Kevin, hey man, did you do that thumbnail?
Yeah.
Kev was like, no, in front of everybody. And he's like, what the hell, man? Like, called him out completely. And I was like, that's my bad. So if you want to talk about people pushing you to do things, on top of that, Evan Carmichael said, okay, if you're going to make it up to me, man, you didn't even do the one thing. You couldn't do the one thing, right? You're afraid of planes, right? I want you to take a video while taking off and with the window open in the window seat, because Kevin's petrified of planes, just in case you haven't heard that 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Just joking. If you're a new listener, you probably haven't. So Kevin's petrified of planes. So he took the video and with the window open during takeoff, which is his least favorite part. And I remember this. This was really hard for him. And you sent it to Evan. You Instagrammed it to Evan. And then later on was actually the story Kevin told about us changing from hyperconscious to Next Level University. And Evan Carmichael also, you want to talk about being vulnerable and having courage. Evan Carmichael coached us, but live on his Instagram. And so there was like, during this conversation of him telling us that, our name sucks, that was live.
Yeah,
that was live in front of, there was several people, I think probably 80 plus people just watching him just tell us the hard truth. So Evan's the man. He pushed us. Of all the mentors and coaches and millionaires and billionaires that I've talked to over the last 6 years, essentially, Evan Carmichael has helped us the most. He's pushed us the most. And he did it in a way where it was from merit. It was from awareness. He was right more than everybody else. I have one other coach in particular. His name is Alex Goad, who just best coaching ever. So Evan and Alex Goad will always go down in history as two of the people who I attribute so much of what we've become to. But you need people in your corner who push you. Caveat. I know we got to go here. Caveat. I have coached people from MLB. I've coached people from the NFL. I've coached people. I did a little bit of fitness coaching with Tony Robbins' son, Jarek. I've been coached by millionaires. I've been coached by a billionaire. I've been coached by famous people. What I'm going to share with everyone, because I want to be I want to give you the lessons that you couldn't necessarily get unless you had those opportunities. Right, so we've had some coaches from all over the world that are the most successful people in their industries, and I've also done some coaching with Doc Gen Fit, and I've coached, Natalie Hodson, and I've coached a lot of the people that we've had on this show, and so I've been coached and coached so many incredible, super successful people. I've coached people at the very beginning of their journey, and I've coached people that are at the top of their industry, and vice versa. I've been coached by people at the beginning, and I've been coached by people at the top of their industry. And honestly, a lot of that was me learning what to do and not do when you're being mentored. So this episode is having someone in your corner who pushes you. Here's a couple takeaways. You need to be very, very careful with who you take advice from. Because I've had some people at the beginning of their journey give me great advice. And I've had some people that are way, 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 way ahead of us give us terrible advice. And everything in between. And so what I'm going to say is this. You have to be very, very careful and see where things land for you, and then make your own decision based on your own understanding. And you might be right, you might be wrong. Right and wrong is very black and white anyway. It's not binary. Usually it's some sort of a drive to 5. We talk about that often on this podcast. What I would say is this. Not everyone's advice is going to be good for you. Not everyone's advice is going to take into account your own core values, your own core beliefs, and the exact goals that you want to reverse engineer. This is why podcasting versus one-on-one coaching is difficult to help people, because yes, we can help you on the show for sure. And it's a beautiful thing, mentor in your pocket every single day. But one-on-one coaching, I know exactly what you're going for. I know exactly what your core values are. I know exactly what you're struggling with. So I can talk much more customized to your exact challenge in this exact moment. And I think that's kind of what Evan Carmichael was doing with us. Whereas other advice was very blanket statement type of stuff, and they didn't really know necessarily what we were trying to accomplish. So hopefully everyone out there has some people in their corner pushing them and setting the pace, and mentors and coaches are amazing. But don't ever think for a single second that mentor or coach, that their advice is the end-all be-all for you, because there is no one-size-fits-all approach to personal development or to achieving goals, and their advice can only be as good as they understand you at the deepest level.
Fire. You have to go because you have a call. Speaking of talking to us, if you ever need anything, do not ever hesitate to DM us. Alan's handle is at Lazaros88, Alazaros 88 on the gram. I am at Never Quit Kid on the gram. So anytime you need anything, you want to say hi, you have a question, you need support, just shoot us a DM, or our emails are also in the show notes. Tomorrow for episode number 1064, one huge reason why people don't make more money. As you know, we talk about health, wealth, which we'll talk about tomorrow, life and love. So I think it's a good time for us to talk a little wealth, since we haven't in a minute. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. Happy Sunday. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Please reach out.